Hey, 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 what's happening, everybody? Happy Monday evening. We're going to be talking the Patriots tonight. The 32 for 32 squad actually is pretty much decimated. It's down to just me this evening. And then I got my buddy here, Mark Shue, hopping in. Mark, how we doing? Thank you for joining in and stepping in for Jeff and Joe this evening. Jeff and Joe, sorry, had prior obligations this evening. Joe's in Martha's Vineyard, and then Jeff's down in Jeff's working. Jeff has to work like constantly. He lives his life like dirty jobs. But sorry to make it such a long intro. Mark, how we doing, buddy?
Mike, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here. I haven't done much content out here for 32-bit, but I'm happy to do it. Fill in the cracks when I'm needed. Happy to be here. Excited to talk the Patriots. Even though we don't know how much fantasy value we're going to get out of this team, but I'm ready to get to it.
Yeah, definitely. This is we're talking about a lot of bottom of the barrel scraping, a lot of the 15th and 16th round guys here that we're going to be pulling off the board outside of, like we were talking about a little bit before the show. Like Rhamondre Stevenson is about the only appetizing thing on this whole entire team as far as any kind of fantasy relevance goes. Although I do think that Mac Jones as a quarterback too might be kind of okay. But we'll go ahead and kick this off with we'll talk about what they did during the draft. Now, Keishawn Butte out of LSU, that guy's fast. He's good. He's got big hands. I think he can actually maybe take over the job from Kendrick Bourne. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is a guy that is solidified into that position, although it kind of looks like he is the guy that's got the most consistent record on the team so far. And then Demario Douglas, another great ad. But these guys, again, I mean, they're going to take a little bit of time to gel with this offense and everything like that. So we might not even get to see a whole lot of field time. So we're going to be leading off at the front of the field, which I'll go ahead and turn it over to you because we're talking about quite a few free agents here as far as their offense. Nothing spectacular, but at least some ads, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the first big thing that happened is they signed Bill O'Brien to be their offensive coordinator, which I think is a huge is a huge difference maker from what they had previous. Joe Judge and Matt Patricia and all those boys. So I'm really excited to see what the offense can do. Then they went out. They declined Jacoby Myers' option. I was certain that they were going to sign him and went out and signed Juju. He got about $25.5 million for 3 years. And as of now, he's looking like he's going to be the wide receiver one for the team. There is that lingering chance that DeAndre Hopkins comes in and signs as well. But other signings, they signed Mike Gesicki. They also they waived James Robinson, and then they just signed Devontae Parker to this $33 million incentive laden deal. So that, and with that move, I think that they like Devontae Parker. They obviously want him back in the building, but it could be a way to maybe free up some cap space for Hopkins. I'm not really 100% sure how that all would shake out. But right now, we're looking at Juju as our number one receiver, and probably Devontae Parker on the other side, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know it's kind of crazy. That was one contract I saw that came through that I was like, he's kind of on the backside of his career 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, he used to be this PPR monster, and then all of a sudden now he's just not this guy that even has a whole lot of fantasy relevance. But not having fantasy relevance in the wide receiver position typically means you're not a very active wide receiver, right? So it's not like this guy's going to come out of nowhere, I don't think. But yeah, no, they definitely have an odd team. They approached the offseason a lot different than I figured the team that had the struggles that they had. Now, their defense, I think, will always remain solid. I think that'll always be a defensive unit that can keep almost any offense in a football game. And I think that might really cater to Mac Jones' style. He's not going to be this guy that's ever going to get out there and be aggressive or anything like that. So this team, I think, can win football games, but I don't think that they're going to be scoring more than 10 to 15 points to do so. It's going to be games that the defense keeps the other team to 7-3, and they score 3 or 4 field goals. Might even be, not out of the realm of possibility, because like I said, that's the kind of game this team is going to have to play to win football games. So
Yeah, that's why for the most part I'm in on Rhamondre, like we said early on. I mean, he's going in the early third, sort of push. He's going at 26 overall. Looks like on Underdog right now, in best ball. So early third round picks. If you really want to get your guy, you're probably going to have to try and maybe get him in the second. But outside of that, I'll take Juju at cost. He's going quite a bit later. He's going about in round 9, tail end of round 9. But after that, until I see what Hopkins is going to do, it's hard for me to really cling to any of these offensive weapons. And then Mac Jones, like you're saying, with guys with a team that with a good defense that's only going to bring us 10, 15, 18 points a week. That's not going to be that enough firepower for me to really want to invest heavily in the Patriots offense.
Yeah, no, like I said, the writing for me is almost on the wall as far as is this team going to be high octane, and it just, to me, it's just not built to be high octane. They don't have really any of those razzle dazzle players. But yeah, the volume is going to be there for Rhamondre because, again, I mean, this team's going to want to eat a lot of clock. They're going to want to try to make these games go by as quick as humanly possible, and hopefully get. I don't know. I think Mac Jones maybe will translate to the NFL decently, but I just feel like that he's not the answer for New England in the future. I think that they'll be shopping a new quarterback in the next, 2 to 3 years at maximum. I mean, I feel like if they do have another down year, we will see Mac Jones get replaced either via draft or they'll actually make a move for somebody in the offseason next year. So.
Well, he's definitely got the draft capital that allows him, to get another shot somewhere else with another team, maybe Josh McDaniels, it's not unlikely that he'll get another shot. But you're right, like he's not a guy that I see to long be a difference maker in this league. He might be able to improve to a point where he's, league average for a little while, but he's not a rusher, for fantasy purposes, he's not a rusher. He's mostly going to be a game manager and a system guy that, when he might have a 2 or 3 touchdown game, once in a blue moon, but you're never going to know when, and you're never going to really expect it. So yeah, I think he's an all right player. He's definitely a guy who deserves to be among the 32 quarterbacks right now, which is probably saying more about the quarterbacks than it's saying about Mac Jones. But as far as fantasy is concerned, I'm pretty much out unless I'm getting him like late as like a depth, quarterback 3 or something in my like dynasty league.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've got him in way too many dynasty leagues, unfortunately, and it's not pleasant, man. It's definitely not win now teams anymore if he's my quarterback 1 or even my quarterback 2. Like I said, I can see situations this year where I feel a little bit more comfortable with him as the quarterback 2, but maybe even more like a DFS play. Something to that effect is going to be where I'm going to be comfortable playing him this year, and that's going to be about it. Do you feel like Rhamondre Stevenson is going to be the very first running back out of New England for the first time in a long time that we can have a lot of confidence in being able to maintain this starting role given the depth chart?
I think for now you should. I mean, there's going to be somebody else mixed in, right? That you're going to have to expect that that's going to be the case. But I don't think there's anybody there that they trust more than Rhamondre Stevenson, as a pass catcher, as a goal line, as a short yardage guy. Well, maybe not short yardage, but gets chunk yardage. As of now, I would see him getting the lion's share. I think where he's going right now is definitely worth it. But if somebody does get signed, like say, I don't think it'll happen, but say like Dalvin Cook gets signed, obviously you have to make a huge adjustment.
For the capital that you have to pay him for. Yeah, no, I've been thinking about that. Dalvin Cook or even Ezekiel Elliott was another guy that was kind of running through my head that's a free agent out there, or even Leonard Fournette. I mean, you've got all these big power guys that could find, and that's just like classic New England, right? They might sign Leonard Fournette and Dalvin Cook, just to really, really throw a wrench in the thing. That would be total Patriots football right there.
For what it's worth, I actually don't think they're going to sign anybody. I think they're going to be fine with Rhamondre Stevenson, and they'll patch it together with Pierre Strong and Ty Montgomery and whoever else they what other veteran they've got down there to sort of piece it together. But I think Rhamondre will take most of it. I think he's taken the lion's share over the past couple of years. They got rid of Damian Harris. They thought that for some reason they thought they didn't need him unless they're coming to make some kind of signing this year. So as of now, I would say it's warranted. He's going to get most of that work.
Yeah, if it maintains its current course, getting him in the late second, early third, I'm very happy with that decision. I think you're right. I think late second is about the latest I'm going to wait on that guy. I think I'm going to try to pull the trigger on him. Having him as my running back one, I don't feel like I'm that nervous starting the season. I think I'm liking my situation having him as a running back one on my football team. The rest of it though, yeah, there's not a receiver that I can think of. Like Bourne, I like, but again, I mean, we're talking 18th, 19th, 20th round. I might be grabbing that guy. Devontae Parker's another one of those. Like if I can get him in the 17th or 18th, I feel like I'm getting the value that he might expectedly return. So it's just not a whole lot of exciting things on there. But what about the tight end system there that they have with Gesicki and with Hunter Henry? Do you think that either one of those tight ends are going to be a little bit more viable this year? I mean, we're talking about a position that's like characterized for the 3 for 33, and we scream about them when they score that touchdown because they're a 10-point tight end for that week, and then they become the 3 for 33. But do we foresee that Hunter Henry or Mike Gesicki can be a guy that comes out there and he's the number one tight end on this football team?
I feel like for me, probably not, right? Like if we're really getting down to it, these guys are probably going to cancel each other out to, in any way to really make a huge fantasy impact, a week to week fantasy impact. And they're probably both gonna have their games. Mac Jones does have a pretty nice chemistry with Hunter Henry. They just didn't really throw many touchdowns last year. And honestly, I can see Gesicki making some pretty nice end zone plays as well. But the question is, how is it gonna come? When are we gonna know? Like we talk about them being a team that's going to keep the score low and probably not pass in most situations if they can help it. So for me, it's really tough to look at any of them and be really excited. I think both of them are going, in the outside the 16th round. So in a normal that's underdog, but so in a normal fantasy league, that's probably not even a roster spot at this point. So it's tough. I think you really have to believe it would have to be something that like training camp comes and we really get a big flood of news. I couldn't really make the decision on either one of them right now. I do have like Hunter Henry on a dynasty league team, but I'm not trying to invest high capital in these guys. Again, not trying to invest a lot in this offense if I can help it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just kind of testing and see exactly how you felt. And I mean, me and you are exactly on the same page there. Like I said, I mean, it's not an exciting team to get behind this year. As far as offensive output, again, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be okay to be a fan because this team, again, they could probably win a couple of football games. I can see them beating Miami, and they can spoil Buffalo any day of the week too. So, I mean, they just have that in their DNA, right? With Bill Belichick as your head coach.
And I mean, there is a path to one of them. Like if they really catch on working, I mean, there is, Gesicki does have, a history with Bill O'Brien going back to college. Hunter Henry is the incumbent, has some chemistry with Mac Jones. I've always thought he's been a little underrated as a tight end, just hasn't really been able to stay healthy, for the most part. But to be honest, again, like what are we betting on at that point? We're getting the last round of our draft. Our expectation is that we're most likely going to cut that pick anyway. by week 2. So they would really have to show me something early on. Like it would have to be a lot, a drum beat. It would also have to be something, we'd have to see it maybe in preseason games, and then even just feel it out on the field for the first couple weeks. I don't know if I can even believe it. If one of them comes out and just scores week 1, how are you supposed to?
Right. Or it has like an amazing preseason, and then you go into the season knowing that, that's not even going to be the scheme of football that they're using or anything going into it. They're just testing out different positions, not the plays itself,
Exactly. Like how likely is it that Mike Gesicki plays most of the first team rep work out during the preseason, but Hunter Henry's not playing, right? So he's, and then everybody's hyping up Gesicki. Hunter Henry starts coming back and has a good first half of the season, and it's just going to keep playing back and forth like that. I don't think I can invest anything right now. Like your draft picks are really valuable, and sometimes, especially because we have so much time right now, we're in the early part of July, middle of July already, and so much can happen. So I don't want to hold a roster spot for either of these guys, to be honest.
I agree. Even in the Scott Fish Bowl, where we're tight end premium and really tight end hungry by round 12, there's almost no good tight ends left on the board. Even then, I'm not going to reach deep on those guys, and I might maybe in the 21st round grab one of these guys if they're still available, just for the outside shot. And like you said, sit back. But I know who's probably going to be on my waiver ad week 1. When you got to get rid of somebody to get to the next guy, for sure. So, okay, well, with that, man, we're going to go ahead and close this out unless you have anything you would like to add about the Patriots.
No, I do think that Juju is priced kind of fine, right? Like, if again, as long as Hopkins doesn't come. If Hopkins comes, it's a whole different story.
What do you think the odds are Hopkins goes to New England?
I mean, right now, I think you're laying a percentage, like, to think that he's going, like if you were to bet the Patriots, you'd be laying the percentage there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that, I mean, I know that, but I really don't know. I feel like it's possible that Tennessee swoops in. I think also it's very possible that the Chiefs or some other team just says, okay, or Hopkins decides to change his mind and say none of these guys are going to give me any more money. It's not that much different than what I was going to get with the Chiefs, so I'll go with the Chiefs or something like that.
Right.
So, it's hard. It's really hard to know in this situation, and so really I can't say, I can't really speculate on it now. But if he is in New England, I think that right now he's going at 46 overall in underdog drafts. I think that's probably a pretty decent price. I think he'll still probably be a top, he'll be a top 24 receiver for sure, at least in fantasy. So
right, with some top 1 weeks in there for sure.
Exactly, right. Yeah. Right. So I think he would be good to have. But right now, like Juju as a wide receiver 3, I think he'd be a pretty consistent play, as long as he keeps his number 1 sort of option value.
Yeah, I might. I know I'll probably have a spattering of Devontae Parker late in drafts as well, just because I'm like, what's all this hype about? I've got to see, and I don't want to be late to that party if there's a party to be had right there. I feel like
I'm not gonna lie,
at least a speculative pick.
He helped me win a couple weeks in Scott Fish Bowl last year. Like he's sometimes it works right. Like when he's the only guy there, he does produce okay. He's not like. He's replacement level, right? But when he's the guy, he can still play.
Absolutely.
He knows the system. He can score for them.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, no, like I said, so I'll probably see even a smattering of him, but that's going to be about it. Yeah. So like I said, on that note, man, we'll go ahead and call this a night there. And hopefully you guys are liking, subscribing, following all these 32 for 32s. We'll be back on Wednesday. And we'll be talking about the Miami Dolphins. So, yay, that'll be a fun one right there, because that team's got a lot of weird directions too. I tell you, this AFC East has has nowhere to go but up or down. I mean, it's kind of one of those dual-edged swords there. So we'll be talking about the Dolphins. Looking forward to it. Mark, man, why don't you let the people know exactly how to find you and where to find you, and when do you have your show?
I'm actually not doing much right now, but you can find me on Twitter at Primetime Mock. I'm out there in the community.
There you go. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, off season football. We got to get ready for that season, which is like 2 months away officially. So
yeah, in season. My friend Shu and I we do best bets and all that, and we talk a little fantasy. But for right now, we're off. We'll probably be picking it up here, as we get closer here.
Excellent.
It's time, right? Scott Fishbowl's here. It's time.
Yep, that's it. That's actually the official marker that it is fantasy football season, is when the Scott Fishbowl kicks it off, man. So once again, definitely appreciate you stepping in there and being on. Had a good time tonight, and hopefully look forward to getting you on here a few more times during the season and getting to talk to you again. So definitely appreciate that. And like
Thanks
I said, you definitely. Yeah, heck yeah, man. It was definitely worth it, man. It was definitely way fun. Had a good time. Like I said, I can't wait to do this again already. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Have yourselves a good night, and make sure you guys are staying safe out there, especially during this 4th of July season, and go have fun. And we'll be talking the Dolphins, and we'll see you on Wednesday.